Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Practice English with Paul. I'm Paul, if you didn't know that already. So basically, today's video is in response to a question someone asked me in a private message about what's the difference between whether and if, because they're preparing for FCE. And actually for FCE, and especially CAE, and especially for CPE, you have to know this, because you could be asked on this sort of grammar in like the use of English part 2 or the use of English part 4, for example. And actually in everyday general English, you should know this. Let's have a look. In the first two examples, there isn't really sort of a difference in meaning between them, like grammatically, just a difference in formality. Let's have a look. In the first one, we've got, we discussed whether we should kick him, versus we discussed if we should kick him. Now, just saying whether in that first example makes it sound a lot more formal to my sort of native ear. So if I were in a job interview, I would use whether, whereas if I was with my friends, I would use if. Using whether with my friends might be a bit strange, to be honest. They might think that I'm being arrogant and my head up my own arse or something, which is not really true. So again, in a job interview, I would use this, or if I was talking to the Queen, I would say, so I wouldn't say kick him to the Queen, she'd probably shoot me. But here, in indirect questions, we can also use whether versus if. I asked whether she had a boyfriend. I asked if she had a boyfriend. There is no difference in meaning. It's just, again, formality. That's what it is. It's as simple as that. So you have the choice. So, for example, if you were doing, say, indirect questions, like, you know, reported speech in FCE or CAE, you actually have the choice in like a use of English part 2, for example, about which one to have. So you have both options. So it's quite fair. So sometimes Cambridge can be nice. However, this is where it gets a bit complicated, because this is where we can't use if and we can only use whether. It's always after prepositions. We can't use if after prepositions, only whether. So for example, there was a big debate about whether I should wear a wig. If you don't know what a wig is, it's that fake hair to cover my baldness. I don't wear one and I'm not going to either. You can just imagine it. So again, there was a big debate about whether. I can't say about if. It even sounds awful to my English ear and makes me want to be sick. However, here, the next one. It's a question of whether you're good enough or not. And I'll come to this or not in a second. Again, preposition. I can't say it's a question of if you're good enough. I mean, I'm sure to you guys listening and watching, just hearing, it's a question of if you're good enough. It just sounds horrible. It sounds wrong, because it is. So we have to use whether when given that kind of option. Also, what's kind of quite interesting, we can also use this whether before infinitives as well. Now, I'm going to sort of explain this in a bit of detail. It's not a very sort of open sort of grammatical rule, this. It's quite specific, as I will explain. So here we go. We need to decide now whether to buy a cat or a parrot for dinner. So for example, the reason I've underlined the word decide here is because quite often this structure is used with decide. So we decided whether to do this, we decided whether to go on holiday or that place, we decided whether to kick him in the face, etc. So as you can see, I've got my whether before my infinitive, but it's really like mainly after the verb decide. So it's very, very specific. But there's also another interesting structure with whether, and it's also with the conjunction or, like here, whether, blah, 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 or, and it basically means it doesn't matter whether, it doesn't matter what. So for example, I'll still be sick whether we go to McDonald's or Burger King, like given that choice. It doesn't matter which one we go to, I will be sick anyway. So I'll still be sick whether we go to McDonald's or Burger King. Again, it's still a bit more formal than saying it doesn't matter if we go to Burger King or McDonald's, I'll still be sick, which will be more common in spoken English. So this is a bit more formal, a bit more written. Again, another example, you're going to drink domestos whether you like it or not. Now, this last part of my example is a really nice fixed expression in English, whether you like it or not. And it's something parents often say to their kids when disciplining them. You're going to go to your room whether you like it or not. You're not going to have any dinner whether you like it or not. Or, you know, you're going to drink this medicine whether you like it or not. It's fixed. And again, you can use that quite often in your spoken English if you're trying to shout or discipline someone. So as you can see, it's actually not really difficult. The main things that you need to remember: formality, if you've got the choice of both, and again, after prepositions, very specifically before an infinitive with decide, and again, whether or, usually with a negative, whether or not, is more common. And that's basically it. So what I suggest you do, if you go to, I think Michael Vince Advanced, or like Michael Vince FCE, or my Grammar Lab, or even Murphy's, for example, the classic Murphy's, you will find exercises on this. And I suggest you do them 500 times because it will really help you. So guys, please like the video, thumbs up, and share with your friends, family, cats and dogs. Goodbye.